I'm going to do a little introduction and we'll get started.
Okay. Does my hair look funky like this?
No.
Okay.
No, it does not.
Okay.
I think it looks good. And I tell people you're perfect the way you are. Don't mess with perfection.
Woo, woo. Thank you.
Blue Podcast 8 feels good. It feels like it's time to celebrate. It feels like the Sahara Desert in here. We should probably raise a toast
Let's do it.
to stay hydrated.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, Kimmy Larson. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
No problem. You can put that down on the table without the coaster so it doesn't stick. Don't worry about that. I think with a wine glass, it's not going to get condensation all the way down to the bottom. So
Right.
it's all good. So Blue Podcast 8, we got our good friend from Zen Boutique Life Coaching, a whole boutique of Zen with life coaching with Kimmy Larson.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This is very, very exciting. But first, I want to ask you, how are you doing, Brian?
Good. If I didn't stutter so damn much, I couldn't get over my words on the last thing I said. But I'm doing good. This is like our evening podcast session.
Yes, it is.
The sun has gone down. It's about 8:30, and here we are, just relaxing, getting a little podcast session, and enjoying some of the finer things.
Yes.
The finer things.
Thank you for this. My favorite.
And why don't we tell everybody what the brand is? What's that you got
Santa
there?
Margherita Pinot Grigio. And it's
Santa
absolutely
Margherita.
delicious.
Pinot Grigio on ice.
Mm-hmm.
Got to keep it nice and cold.
That's right.
So, what a crazy year and a half it has been since March 2020.
Yes. It's absolutely bananas. I've been staying strong with my clients, helping them stay strong. We just got to help each other, lift each other when we can. During the whole COVID time last year, when no one was working or most people were out of work, I worked with my clients to, what is your passion? Do you like writing books? Do you like writing music? Do all those things now. You have the time to do it. So they're not sitting there thinking about so many bad things. Get the negative out, bring the positive in. With every negative, there is a positive. So that's what we focused on a lot during COVID time. During COVID, I also did a lot of pro bono work because my clients had lost their jobs as well. And that was really tough, and I didn't want to let them go.
That was very good of you.
Yeah, they're important to me. And they stay, I stay, they stay, and we move forward with that. And I enjoy it. It gives me motivation to keep going myself, and I get a second wind from every one of my clients. So I never get tired. I'm just always going, and it's important. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, it was very good of you to do pro bono work during the pandemic, because it's probably a time when people need somebody there for them the most. Need a coach. So, that's very good of you to do that. And yeah, people need a reason to be positive and a reason to go out of the house. And for all the time they were telling us to be inside, it's so nice to get outside. You really have to. I know
really
I've been riding my bike. I got a nice new bike recently. Shout out to John Cotter. He has his own sales and repair business. I got a nice bike off of him. Been going out, after work, get some fresh air, get some sunshine, get some exercise.
Get that heart going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the heart going, get some sunshine. We were just talking about vitamin D before we started recording. And, I got to get that too. I was outside, last week. I went golfing over the weekend, and just, it's fun to do. And then also I got a bunch of vitamin D. I feel good. I got a tan, it feels good to get that, that's the best way to get vitamin D. But, just doing those outdoor activities, people value that so much more now, and I feel like you see a lot more people out there exercising. I'm seeing people,
Yes.
you know, it's like, you know, they might be a little heavy or whatever, but it's like, oh, good for you, man. You know, you're trying to keep at it. You know, you will succeed if you keep on doing it.
Yeah,
And,
most definitely.
Yeah, so people are enjoying that now.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the vitamin D, we lose that. We lose that natural vitamin D during winter. So it's important to keep it up with taking, you know, your vitamin D3 during, you know, the fall and winter time. So, and it's good that you're getting out there, getting your exercise. Talk about that with my clients as well. You know, any free time that you have, or any time that you start to feel, you know, a brush of anxiety coming on, get outdoors. Go do it. Because, I don't know, something with that sunshine just does something for you. And then when you see other people smiling and laughing, you know, you kind of just pick it up. You pick up that energy, and you need that. It's all natural. You got your natural vitamin D, you got your natural lift of happiness to keep, you know, get you moving. So it's really important.
Happiness is contagious.
It is. Yeah. Laughter, smiles, all of that.
It really is, yeah. And I find that I don't feel good when I don't exercise. And when I do exercise, I do feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, for many years, you know, when I was in law school, I did exercise a bit because I started off living on my own when I went to law school, and after a while there was a better deal on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So one of my best friends, Matt Thomason, we got an apartment, and he was all into exercising too. So we kind of kept each other accountable, which is huge, right? You need a nice accountability partner. We would do it, you know, we would exercise together. And so, you know, we did that. But then after I graduated and I started working, for a long time I wasn't exercising at all. And I went for years like that, and it was very unlike me because, you know, I wrestled in high school. I used to box, like, not competitively, but, you know, just in training and all that, and with sparring and things like that. And, you know, I was in great shape, and it's like when you lose that, you give away a valuable gift, you know, your body. If you don't use it, you lose it. And you just don't feel as good mentally now. But now that I'm doing cardio in the morning, weight training, and then sometimes riding the bike, or just, you know, whatever, even golfing, whatever,
Right.
you're walking around the course, doing whatever, just burning calories and
So
doing positive stuff, you know.
So let me ask you a question. When you were doing the boxing and wrestling, what did you get out of that? What did you love about it?
Competition. My dad was a very proud man. He was a very tough man. My grandfather was a very tough man too. They pride themselves on fighting. Like, my grandfather, his name was Tom Tierney, and he got into a boxing match with this guy in a small town, and they went like 10 rounds of boxing with somebody from, you know, the bar or something acting as a referee, and they went, you know, 10 rounds on the Callan Bridge in Ireland. And so, like, just to see who the toughest guys in town was, and my grandfather always said he didn't want to fight that guy, but people were kind of putting him up to it, and he was backed into a corner where, like, he didn't want to get his ass kicked, so he had to fight or whatever. And then my father was a very tough man as well, and so, like, they instilled in me, it's like, it's manly, it's in my nature. Like, I feel it comes natural to me to be competitive, or to be involved in those things, wrestling or boxing, to show that I can overcome with my skill and my strength. But also there's comfort and knowledge as well, to know how to defend yourself and how to do it properly. Because before I entered boxing and wrestling, like, I had been in street fights and stuff, and when you don't know what you're doing, you're at a big disadvantage. And so wrestling and boxing taught me, like, you know, the fundamentals of fighting and defending yourself, so you feel more self-confident when you know that, like, you know, I might not win, but I'll put up a fight and I'll know how to do it, and I'll feel comfortable doing it. So it was comfort with things that are uncomfortable, you know, violence, competition, pain. Those are all things I got confidence and comfort with, the uncomfortable, and just a sense of pride and a sense of strength and confidence. That's what I got from it.
So if you take all of that, all of those feelings that you had back then while wrestling and boxing and whatnot, and you put it into today's world of being at the gym, weight training, and just doing regular cardio and things like that, do you think that would be the same type of feeling that you're on a treadmill or you're weightlifting and say, oh my God, this is what I felt like when I was wrestling?
Well, you get a similar high too, just because of the cardio, like all the stuff that goes on your body, probably all the dopamine release you get and everything from the cardio. But now I just feel like, okay, at least I'm physically prepared more, because when I wasn't exercising, I literally felt fragile. My joints didn't feel as strong. I just didn't. I felt a little bit more of the, the frailty of my body. Like when you're exercising and you're young, you feel like invincible, right? They call you, oh, you think you're invincible? Yeah, because you have incredible strength, you have incredible energy, and you heal really quickly. But for all those years that I didn't work out, probably a good 4 years, 3-4 years or 5 years without working out a lot. I lost a lot of that, and now it just feels good. Like I feel healthy, and then it's just it makes my mind feel better too. So I'm just more relaxed and calm. And now I realize what I was missing, what I was depriving myself of by not exercising.
Yeah.
So for me now, the motivations are different. It's just feeling of like staying prepared, but also just the overall general feeling. The most important thing is my health. I just feel better when I do it. You gotta we're covered in skin, and like that's probably the largest organ in the body, I think they say.
Yeah.
And then all these cells and your muscles, like you need to nourish that. Good sleep, exercise, and supplements, and eating
and good
eating
conversation.
Right. Eating and good conversation too. Like it's good for your mind, your body, and your soul.
That's right.
No doubt about it.
That's right.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Until this world will burn. Something.
If I started to sing,
Riders on the storm.
This whole thing would be shut down.
I think it's going to be too. My voice was nowhere near in tune on the first couple of bars of that. Normally, like I'm a little bit better than that, you know what I mean?
Right.
What I need is the lyrics up in front of me. I need like a separate app on the computer for karaoke or something.
Yes, that
keep me right.
We should do that. That'd be fun.
Karaoke night, everybody loves that too. You want to cure the COVID blues, like get people doing karaoke.
Yeah, that would be fun. Karaoke night at Brian's.
What would you do, Alanis Morissette? I feel like you could do a good Alanis Morissette impression. What it all comes down to.
I might.
Is everything's gonna be all right.
Give me 3 of these, and I probably could.
3. That's doable.
Yes, it is.
That's definitely doable.
Well, we were talking about all of that stuff, feeling good about exercising, getting out in the sun, our vitamins, exercising, and all that stuff. I had mentioned that because there's a lot of negative emotional states that we all go through, and we hide that from our friends and our family and things like that because we're afraid of becoming a burden to them. So it's really hard for people to open up to those emotional states. Why are you
I feel like sometimes I'll be on the phone with somebody, my assistant or whatever, and unfortunately I give them an ear beating with all my complaints just to get it off my chest. Be like, you're in my life, so you're going to have to hear this.
Oh, that's healthy.
But I try, yes, it is. But, I was reading it, and most people, they don't give a shit. They're like, dude, I'm just trying to do my job, or I'm just trying to, like, the realtors that I work with in my line of business, they're like, most of them are really cool. Like, some of them are my closest friends, and we have chats like this, and they'll listen. But I don't want to, like, give them an ear beating like, poor me, because they're like, poor me. I've been to Glen Ellen, I've been to St. Charles, I've been to Naperville, I've been to here, there, like, all in one day, and I still got to do this stuff. I'm like, all right, I get it. There's different types of busyness within the same industry. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
Some people don't have those outlets or think they don't have those outlets, So we go through anger, fear, resentment, anxiety, all of that stuff, and sometimes we can go through all of those emotions at one time, and that's a whole lot to carry on your shoulders. And you ask, why do people avoid those emotions? Again, afraid to feel like a burden on the family, or afraid, what if they think I'm a broken record, or what if they can't help me, and then they feel bad because they can't. Life coaching is an outlet. You come to life coaching to get all of that out, to listen. I listen to everything. It's like basically like talk therapy, throw it up on a dry erase board so they can see their words, they can see what they're saying. And it's all that starts to make sense when you start doing that. A lot of my clients are like, whiteboarding, why are you doing that? And I was like, you'll see your own words, and it's gonna start to make sense. And I push that for them to do at home too. So whatever their thoughts are, because how many thoughts can go through your head, racing through your head all day, right? So I was like, get them out on the whiteboard. You put them in a book, you're gonna open your book, you're gonna write it all out, you're gonna close your book, and you're gonna put it away. And you're not gonna go back to it until days later, or a month later, whatever. So if you have a whiteboard, you put it on the whiteboard and you start dealing with each one of them one at a time. It may seem like a lot and it may seem overwhelming, and it's supposed to at first. But as soon as you start erasing all those things, you start to feel better and less overwhelmed. So again, life coaching, is the outlet. It's a safe place. It's private. Everything is confidential, and let out those emotions. We'll start to create goals together. What are your goals? We'll work on them, and that's the fun part of life coaching.
Well, the whole COVID experience for people has been tough, myself included, for the last year, because at a time where you're going through so much and you need interaction, we weren't able to have it. We weren't able to have, hugs and all
Yes.
these things, and we had to be kind of afraid of not each other, but the contact that we were having with each other and the possibility that somebody might have a virus that can make you very sick. And so in the ongoing aftermath of that, I try to be conscious of my energy and my behavior toward others, because you don't know what they're going through, but also because you want to overload their plate, right? People's plates have been pretty full of drama and negativity and bad feelings, and there's
That's
all the
right.
stuff that was going in politics. The DC Capitol got destroyed during the rallies, and everything was going on all during the middle of this COVID, and the death of George Floyd and the aftermath of that as well, and just so many things going on that were, not being able to work, the stress of not being able to pay your bills, the fights with people in your house or whatever. I heard that people were just around each other, driving each other crazy and not being able to get out. It was probably more cabin fever than anything else. But at a time where we need life coaching the most, it's tough that, or not even life coaching, but also just the interaction, being able to talk with people. We didn't have it, and that's why I kind of try to watch, I'm trying to manage my own, business and goals with also how I'm feeling, but not overloading other people too. And I just try to keep things smaller and just on a more digestible level. I don't want to, I'll give people, if I'm working with my staff or something, here's this thing to do and let me know when you're done, instead of hitting but sometimes I'm in such a fast-paced industry. So I'm in real estate law. I close several hundred real estate transactions a year, purchases and sales. And, sometimes I try not to overload my staff with their mental energy, because there's only so much. The gas tank has its limits.
Yes,
and,
it does.
And for me, and I'm starting to recognize my own limits more and more. I'm like, if I don't stop now, stop working now and start to disconnect and unwind, I'm not going to feel as good the next day, or I'm going to feel like shit. And I know that's the same thing with my assistants and my family, everybody, that they only have so much mental energy. I try to manage my own, but also manage other people's, and that's the tough part about it, because I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there that felt guilt during the pandemic.
Yes.
To even talk about somebody, because they know they're going through just as bad or worse than what they are.
Right. And also there were a lot of people that looked really happy, and I got this and everything's great, and that's what we see. But what they were going through on the inside was completely different. So that was heartbreaking. I've had a few clients that came in and said, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. And I was like, well, tell me, what's going on? What are you exhausted about? I'm so exhausted from being happy, pretending that I'm happy. And then when I'm alone, I just take this deep breath and inhale, exhale, and then I wind up crying because I'm not happy. I'm not happy, but I want to show other people that I am because I know how miserable they are. And that's not a happy way to go. You got to share your emotions together, completely share them. And here with your office, you have so much going on here. You have to have your war board, you have your whiteboard out. So you have your war board, and you have all the things that you have going on, what's coming up that's closing, and what did close, and how are you going to celebrate that. You could put your team, your team names on the board and whatnot, and what their responsibilities are, that are coming up. So we know, hey, in the next few days this is going to close, and we're going to celebrate. This is how we'll do it. So it always, not only does it look overwhelming, but there's a positive end to it by the celebratory thing. So yeah,
I like that, the celebration at the end.
yeah, because it's not all about work. At the end of all of that, there's something to celebrate, because you all work together as a team. You all listen to each other. So that's really huge and important.
For sure. You mentioned the different emotions that people feel. You had anger. What else did you have on the list?
Anger, fear, resentment, frustration, anxiety.
And is this something that you emphasized prior to COVID and the pandemic, or now you're focusing even more on that with your clients?
Both. We focused on this prior to COVID, and the emphasis is on it a lot more since COVID had happened. There's a lot of first responders that are going through so much with defund the police and the riots that were happening, the hours that they're working, families being frustrated that they don't see them and they're scared, for their son, their daughter, or whatnot. And that's scary. It's a scary thing. I would love to see first responders come in. I do see some already, and they are definitely grateful for the time that they get to sit with me. Because when they leave, they feel okay. They're able to then text me. If they start to feel anything, they can text me or whatever have you. I'm always there. Our primary goal through all of that is, where is it that you want to be? What is your 5-year goal? What's going to bring you happiness? So, it goes on and on and on. Everybody's different. So every first responder that I have sat with all have, it's a different personality. It's a different problem or a different issue. But we do it. We sit and we do it together. But I would like to see more of that. It's heartbreaking, the suicides I hear. And if I can be of any help, then call me. Because I want to be there. I'm not therapy. This isn't therapy. This isn't going through health insurance or anything like that. And so it's completely, when I say private, it's private. Completely. And so, yeah.
When you speak with first responders and you see these emotions and you hear about them when you're coaching them, are you focusing on those emotions getting in the way of their goals? Because you mentioned earlier that the main goal of life coaching is to have a goal and the path to achieving it. So when you're speaking with them, are you picking up on the emotions that they're going through and how that's interfering with their goal or their path, or also how it can be used to motivate them to achieve that goal?
All of that, Ryan. You absolutely said that correctly. All of it. It's absolutely all of that. During life coaching, I want it to be I want to see that person smile. I want to see that person cry it out. I've had people get on my floor and just cry it out. Do it. Because it makes you feel so much better when you just get it out. And I feel blessed that I'm that person to be there while all that is happening. I'm blessed to be that person for them when we're working through everything. You know, it doesn't take 6 sessions or 8 sessions. It can go on for a little bit, you know, so be prepared for that. But while we're going through these sessions, it's not always going to be questions on top of questions. It's going to be, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be talk therapy, and we're going to write it out. We're going to look at our words, and we're going to figure it out. Do it together. You're not alone.
So, what are a lot of the goals that you have had with first responders or with just your clients in general, you know, people in general? What are some of the common goals or things that people are trying to work toward with your assistance and your coaching? And maybe an example of like some of the steps that you'll recommend and follow up on to help them achieve that goal.
Fear of going back to school. And most of the fear is, am I too old to go back to school? Am I going to grasp all of the things that they're teaching me? Am I gonna accept it? Can I afford it? You know, is it going to be a waste of time? So we go through all of that.
So they might be raising issues and maybe feeling some doubt and things like that.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they just don't know the steps to take. Who do I talk to? What do I want my career to be? I want to do this or I want to do that. So we work through those and where your passion really lies. What is your life purpose? And
well, that's pretty deep.
So when we get to that part of life coaching, what is your life purpose? We find it naturally through whiteboarding. And so I will, like therapy, they start with your past to find out why you are where you are today. I do the same thing because I need to know who you are as a person, and I need to know what your past was like to understand why you're here today. What were the things that held you back when you were a child that may be holding you back today? So physically something held you back when you were a child, but now emotionally and mentally it's still holding you back. So we go through, you know, careers. Do I stay at this job? Do I not stay at this job? If I don't stay, what is that thing I'm supposed to do, which is your life purpose? And then school, a lot of school stuff. I get that. I want to go back to school. I'm afraid to go back to school. I don't know if it's the right choice to make. Why do you want to go back to school? Let's write it out. So,
because it's multifaceted. It's not just one single reason.
Mm-hmm.
It could be overall happiness. It could be income. It could be various different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to get ahead or promotion because you have a better degree.
Correct.
Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so going back to school, you know, and you mentioned like overall life purpose. So, and I said, you know, that's deep, but to your point, like everybody needs a purpose or more than one purpose in life to feel rewarded. I know I do.
Yeah.
And I try to help people, just friends of mine, with finding their purpose too. And I told that to a lot of people. I have a family member who, you know, came back from the service, and like, you know, he asked me like, you know, he tells me about everything that's going on. We're chatting up, you know, catching up, and you know, I was telling him, I was like, you know what, you got to know what your purpose is, your overall sense of purpose, because that drives almost everything else we do. And if it's not driving everything else we do, that's what I feel like leads to unhappiness for a lot of people. So I was like, just in general for people, I feel like people have to have that purpose, whatever it is. It could be,
it's your passion.
It could be family. That could be the thing. Like, okay, I'm kind of like, for first responders, if they transition out of that field, or, military personnel, I'm going to put my all into just like, working, doing this to like save for my kids' college fund, or to, to volunteer, to do these jobs, to start my own business. Having those overall life goals, and then just the short term, if you're transitioning from, being in the service, being a police officer, being a fireman, because I'm seeing that now, that a lot of people have done it and they realize that this is a very tough job, and it's something that you can't really do forever. And those maybe that stay too long are the ones that end up really unhappy or unhealthy, because maybe they're shift workers, they're working late hours, maybe they're not getting enough sleep or not sleeping right, and they've just been through so much negative stuff, because a lot of first responders, like, their job is to deal with the most negative things in our society, and they're getting mixed signals nowadays too. You can't do this, you can't do that, but also you still have to do your job. It's like, well, what is a job, and how do I even do it? If I can't, you know what I mean? Like, if I get into a situation where it's like I'm feeling a natural fight or flight response and I have to fight, like...
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say that.
It's a tough position to be in, and it's not even just the police that get those feelings or responses. Like, people get that fight or flight even as paramedics or firemen and things like that. And it's like, it takes a lot of energy out of your body, and maybe, with the cortisol and the stress damages your body, and you're gonna get older faster, and you're not gonna be able to react as well if you stay doing those things.
Are you sure you're not the life coach? You got it. Yes.
I mean, I'm just trying to...
You are so on top. Yes.
Play tennis with you a little bit.
Yes. Thank you.
And just be open and have like a little hippie conversation, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you've got it.
Zen Boutique.
Yes.
So, a lot of, like I said, mentioned that, people are trying to maybe even move on from this because of all that they know that, like, back in the day, people really didn't know, like, how bad it was for you to be on shift working the third shift, or to, be in a job where you're not happy forever, because it probably kills you faster. Like, all that cortisol and stuff, I know that's not good for your body, to be feeling that stress all the time.
And you're always worried about your partner. You have that worry. You worry about your partner's, friends that are on the force and things like that. So it's a cycle. It's a whole entire cycle that they go through. And what is life without that? That's the question I get. What is my life without it? And that's another thing that we have to talk out. And that's what we do. When we put it on the whiteboard and they see their words, it makes a difference. It really does. And that's the best part of being in my office. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. I have an actual office space. I don't do that. I do both, video,
remote
telehealth.
And,
telehealth.
Zoom.
Telehealth, through Zoom,
Telehealth.
Duo, or whatever have you. Or I'm in my office.
So you have a choice of in-person or virtual.
Yeah. And I love the in-person. Not to take away from anyone that wants to do virtual, but in-person is awesome. So.
Well, it's probably where you feel the best about expressing yourself. If you're doing it through a screen, you don't get like, is this really working? I'm doing it through a device, whereas I feel like this is something that should be done in person.
Well, I feel it's more, when you're in person, I feel it's more personable. And again, not to take away from, doing it as a video thing or anything like that, but we're there, we're in person. I'm supporting you. And you can feel that when you're in person rather than being on the phone or on a video call.
Yeah, because the energy that you have.
Yes.
While you're, like we said, happiness is contagious and things like that.
Yes.
Like, that's something that doesn't really come through that screen that well. And maybe that's why this electronics generation, the cell phone generation, is missing out on so much
Yes.
and feeling it,
Yeah, it's so funny with the whole video sessions now. I had a friend of mine, she's absolutely amazing. Her name is Gretchen. She had told me a while back before COVID had happened, Kim, you're so great at what you do. You need to do video so you can reach, people that live out of state and things like that. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm such a personable person that I don't know if I can do that. But COVID forced me in that direction, so I felt that I had to, and I did. And I had told my clients, I'm like, okay, I'm a little nervous about this, so bear with me. I've never done this before. So I am comfortable now doing it. And she is right. I'm able to reach more people. So I've had clients in Florida. I've had clients from New York. I've had clients from Michigan. So it's pretty cool, right? But again, I like the in-person stuff too, because you're there in person. We're whiteboarding together. I don't want the person to feel that they're alone. And their most important part, they're out of the norm. They're out of their four walls. They're somewhere different and they feel safe.
They feel safe, and they probably don't feel any negative emotions that are associated with, other places in their life.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed too was, we can talk about whiteboarding and, putting these words outside of yourself, externalizing them, putting them out there, looking at them, seeing the truth of how they really feel when they're externalized like that. It doesn't translate as well virtually, but what I meant to say really was just, I can feel like, if you're not convinced about whiteboarding, when I hear you say it in person, I can feel the energy that I know that that's like a really positive thing to do, and an easier way to achieve your goal. So I understand why you like, in person, coaching, because he has that advantage. But I know you're there for everybody, whether they're here in town and they want to do it virtually just because of COVID, or if they're out of town and it's travel wise, it wouldn't make sense to come in. But I like the in person as well, because I can feel that energy. I know you're conveying to me like, you need to do this, and I understand it, because the positive energy of it that you are projecting makes it feel right already. Like, I know this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. And I don't know. Every time someone meets me, they're like, oh my God, what is it that I'm feeling right now? And I'm like, happiness. They're like, how in the world are you so happy all the time? And I'm like, because there are negative things that happen in my life, but I look at that negative and I turn it into something that's positive. If it's something that's negative and I can't turn it into something positive, then it's out of my control, right? So I put that to the side. It'll get taken care of. Somehow, some way, it's going to be fine. I'm going to work through it. But the things that I can control and that I can take care of and turn into something that's positive makes my life keep going. And so that's why I'm always happy.
That kind of reminds me of the old prayer, but I wouldn't call it a prayer. I'd just call it, like, to me it seems more of just like a wise saying, but I think that it's actually considered a prayer amongst Catholics. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
That's right.
And to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's very important I feel, to hone your ability to accept the things you cannot change.
That's right.
But not let them interfere with the rest of your life. Like, some people are like, oh, you're ignoring, you're not taking it. It's like, no. I think sometimes the smartest thing to do is recognize, like, I need to be away from that situation and try to stop trying to change that situation. It's better for your overall mental health, and also for your well-being, your time and your schedule. You don't have time for negativity. And
it's like I tell my clients, you are the captain of your own ship. I have teenagers that I coach as well, and I tell them that all the time. You are the captain of your own ship. So you decide who you want on your ship. You want them to be an anchor, or do you want to sail with them? So if they're going to be an anchor, they're off. So you decide. So it's the same. You
have to, because if you don't manage, if you don't manage the anchor, it'll manage you. Like, it's going to hold you down instead of you just getting rid of it and not being held down by it.
Yes.
So you can move in the direction that you need to move in. That's the way I look at it.
That's right.
That's the way I look at it. So another thing is, there's this guy, he's like an angel investor. His name is Naval Ravikant. And he had a lot of things to say about taking something that's negative and try to see it as a positive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, for example, I'll give you an example out of my day today. I left the office and I had a piece of coffee cake for my mom, and also she needed me to print some documents for her, so I was going to bring those over to the house. And I was getting a ride because I was out of town, and I left my car at my mom's house because there was like all this construction going on by my house, and I didn't want to, have to worry about leaving it there because they might need it moved because they're doing construction everywhere, but
right. Certainly
all over Chicago. There's a construction all over the place. So I left the car over there, and so I had to, my assistant dropped me off over at, my mom's or whatever, and I pick up the car, and so I was like, oh, you know what? In my rush out the door, because my assistant had to get going, she was about to go on lunch, I forgot to even bring the stuff. Like, I only then ended up picking up the car. And that was negative because you lose time. I have to now, do something that I was already supposed to do and do it twice. But then I turned it into a positive right away. And I'm like, I get to see my mom twice in one day.
That's right. See?
So Naval Ravikant said that, and he goes, anytime you can take a negative and turn it into a positive,
Yes.
like, do that all the time, because as soon as you start thinking negative, it's a very infectious thing, and negativity, they say it lasts longer than positivity or happiness.
Yes.
That it's, happiness kind of comes and goes. You need to, that's why people want to be doing fun things all the time. A lot of people, they don't like, oh, I don't want to work, I want to like just be like out there having fun. It's because those feelings come and go, and you got to replenish those all the time. So if you can manage that negativity, like what he's saying is like, when I had to go back to the store, then I found like an even better deal on something, or there's something else I realized I wanted. So it was like, it made, worked out, whatever. Anything you can do to turn a negative situation into a positive is super helpful. And I feel like that's something you're probably very good at, and also very good at helping people with, like, hey, you know what? You might not be able to change that, but, remove yourself from that and just focus like a laser on that goal. And just like you said, leave the anchors behind.
Yeah, most definitely. I've had a lot of clients ask me, what is that? How do you do that? No. And I'm like, it's so easy. Like, I went to this coffee shop. It's no longer in Lincoln Park, and go figure. I would go in there for coffee, and they were first thing in the morning, and they were just so mean. I'm like, I don't want to come in here for coffee then, because I want to come in.
The employees or people in general?
No, employees were so mean. I'm like, that's not even cool, because you're the first person I'm seeing this morning. So why are you going to be
And
mean?
you want a fix from them, too. I want my delicious coffee, and the coffee's not going to taste so good if you're rude to me, goddammit.
Right. I don't even want the coffee anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Screw your coffee. I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts instead. I should have went there in the first place.
Right?
They know how to treat people right over there. The Dunkin' Donuts crew over here on 63rd between Austin and the Central.
Yes.
Magnifico. They're like, I got a bunch of new best friends. They're all awesome.
That's too funny. But I was using that example to my client. Like, that was a negative situation. So instead of letting that negative situation tell me how my day is going to go, I turned it and said, the first person I see when I walk out that door, I'm going to smile at and say good morning. And I'm going to get it back. And that's going to be the start to my day. So, yes.
I say a million things with my good morning. I want to be polite.
Yep.
I want to be confident.
Yes.
I want to show them I don't mean I mean business. I'm not bullshitting. I say it in a way that I'm like I'm being nice, but also don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? It's like all those things I'm saying with my good morning. But for the most part, it depends on your audience. Like sometimes you know, if it's a grandma, obviously I'm not trying to flex on grandma. Good morning, or good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah.
And you know, just try, especially when I'm in a place where like I'm not from there. Like I was just in Wisconsin this weekend. It's like, all right, I'm the outsider here. This is their territory. I'm gonna try to be polite, you know, and be
Yep.
respectful, and let them know that not all people from Illinois are assholes.
Yeah.
Which you have to do on a specific level and a general level too. I feel like, because this state's got 1,000,001 problems, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just, I say good morning to pretty much everybody I see, and I'm always like, I was programmed, you know, by a former boss of mine. She's like, you got to let people know, you know, that you're happy, and you got to, you know, make them happy as well, and you got to make sure everything starts on a positive note. So say good morning on every email you send, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And you know, she was right, and I you know, I still do that, and I started being conscious of it more often, because you know, it's just such a good greeting. Good morning. How are you? It's like
Yes.
almost like wishing them good morning, but you're just making a statement instead. And or you know, good afternoon, good evening. It's just a good way to start, and then it just helps the whole rest of the situation flow better, I feel.
Yeah, most definitely. I always end an email or a text message with, I'm wishing you a great day or a great week. I love doing that, because I'm like, they're probably saying, aw. So, you know, make them smile. That's important.
Well, I'll text you more often just so I can get a nice greeting.
Yeah, a nice wish.
A nice wish. That way I can feel that positivity, and I can smile too when I see it.
Hell yeah.
That's what we got to do.
Yes.
I feel like we're on a joint mission to spread positivity
Hell yeah.
across the whole world. I got into it with somebody earlier today, and you know, who knows? Maybe they listen to this, maybe they don't. Don't matter to me, whatever. And I just ended by saying, I'm like, I don't have time for this, but I'm gonna end this on a positive note. I was like, positive vibes and thoughts your way. And actually, I'm not a very religious man. You know, I was raised a Catholic, went to Catholic school, but I said I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, because I believe, like, you got to tell people, like,
You see?
I don't have time for the negativity, you know, and I'm just gonna think positively. And if that's where you're at, if you're in a negative place, then I'm trying to convey positive energy to you, and I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna try to be the bigger person, but also be respectful and just tell you positive things for you, because I'm gonna be good no matter what.
Yeah.
But you need some help.
Because
you need some goddamn help.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or
Well,
you need
it
some positive vibes.
it takes so much energy to be mean. Why use the energy that you have to be so negative and mean? Use that energy
For good.
for good.
For the
Yes.
good of mankind.
Yes.
For the good of mankind.
That's
yeah.
right, damn it.
Well, yeah, it's it takes so much energy to be negative, and it's also, first of all, on the more positive note, being positive or being nice is free.
That's right.
So it doesn't cost you anything. Like, my dad always used to say, if you want to hurt an American, punch him in their wallet, because he was from Ireland. So he's like, that's how you hurt him financially. It's like, well, being nice or being positive doesn't cost anything. It costs zero.
That's right.
So in any situation, there's been times where I see people, you know, that I don't like, and I still tell them, hey, good morning, how are you? Or at least to show them, hey, you know, hey, Frank, or whatever, you know, or whoever the hell, whoever, Tom, John, hey, Mary, you know, even if I'm not, like, on good terms with them, I acknowledge that they're there.
Yeah.
I tell them good morning, and I move on. Yeah, I don't want to stay and have a whole conversation with you, but I'll be nice to you.
Cordial.
Because whatever negativity you have, or bad things that you're doing or saying, I'm going to be all right no matter what. You ain't going to faze me a goddamn bit.
That's right. You have no space, no room.
So I still
for
recognize
that.
them to be nice.
Yeah.
Even with the haters, the people you would call haters.
I better not have any haters, man.
I mean, I don't think you do.
I don't think so.
I don't know of any.
Oh,
and I don't
if there's
want to
any
know any.
secret haters, oh my gosh, call me.
So
Let's
you can
make
try
it
to
right.
solve that problem. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it depends, but I applaud you, and yeah, I don't think there's any haters. If there are, I don't want to know about them, because those people are. There's something wrong with them, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Brian.
Did we cover everything on the list?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. We did good. This is amazing. What time is it? Should I be
It
asking
is-
that on this?
I mean, 9:15. So I think, I don't even remember. I said what
hour.
time we started in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's almost an hour. We're at about the 50-minute mark.
Man.
And I feel
Cheers.
like we could talk more and more and more and do just like more of a regular podcast every other month or something like that.
I would love that.
Because I feel like we could just sit there and chat, because it's not even, we covered everything. We could just have general conversation, you know?
Yeah, spread the positivity as we were just talking about. Spread the love.
Hopefully so.
No, not hopefully. We will.
Well, hopefully it's still positive though, but yes.
No,
we
it's always
will,
gonna be-
yes.
it's always
and
gonna
now
be
you're making it
positive.
certain. You're like, you're not just hopefully so, like 100%. We're doing
We're doing it.
We're doing it 100%. Just before we leave, any other transitions as far as getting a new job or just, family members?
Family transitions. So
Family transitions. What else should people know about different transitions like that?
starting a family, buying a new home, and you know all about buying a new home. Because what do you do for a living?
Help people who are buying and selling real estate from contract to closing.
Whoop, whoop,
You don't need to look nowhere else.
whoop, whoop.
Blue Podcast, Brian Tierney got you. You know what I mean? You don't gotta look
See?
at anybody else. Like, if you're
See?
buying or selling, talk to me. That's what I do.
But there's always that fear and anxiety about buying a home.
Yes, I deal with it all the time.
Yeah.
That's one of the
my
toughest
clients'
parts of my job. The emotion. It's a business transaction. It has a path from A to B to C.
Yes.
To C is closing. It's got a defined path, but it's a human emotion that makes it a tough job. There's always things that come up. Expectations that were met. We didn't close on the contract closing date. I thought that was written in stone from
Oh my
Moses. It was a holy
God.
date. It's the Holy Grail. No. It's on paper, but it ain't set in stone. That's a target we were aiming for, and unfortunately, sometimes we don't make it. But yes, I do know about that because of being in real estate, the human emotion and things like that. There's other things too. Just always some, issue will come up. The condition of the property. Oh, the basement flooded right before the closing. Oh, there's a million emotions.
Well, then we have relationship. So it could be dating relationship and not knowing, do I move forward with this person? I'm in love with this person, but we have different goals, different outlooks on things. How do we see that?
Is that a
together?
good thing or a bad thing? Can we manage that if it's a bad
Correct.
thing?
So I do relationship coaching on that level as well, is the same as with marriage. There's marriage with that. And marriage could be just the marriage in itself, the marriage with children, marriage because of the career. A lot of different things go on with all of the whole relationship thing. So relationship coaching, career, where am I? What is my life purpose? Do I stay? Do I go? Do I go to school? Do I not go to school? And then we have with high schoolers. And the coaching with the high schoolers is a lot about who am I? I don't know who I am. I don't know where I fit in. Which then goes into I can't stay organized. I don't know what my priorities are. So they juggle with all of that stuff. So I'm there to help them with that. And then a big age group I have. So it's the teenagers and then the 20-something-year-olds. I just graduated. I can't find a job that I got my degree in. What's next? What do I do? So it's working through those challenges too.
Yeah, I feel like having goals and knowing your sense of purpose in life or your goals in life, and then what are you doing to pursue them? It keeps you centered. It keeps you on the path. And I feel like people need that at a young age. I feel like there's probably a lot of parents out there who, they lead by example, but then is it a good example? Is it a bad example? If it's, even if it's a good example, if you didn't instill in your children to have goals or the sense of purpose. The sense of purpose is so goddamn important. It's having that sense of purpose, and then the things that you're doing in your life, is that just part of the journey, or is it interfering with you getting to the destination? Or getting to achieving your ultimate goal? And so I feel like some kids, if their parents didn't teach them about that sense of purpose and achieving their goals and that path to doing it, if they didn't get that, they're like a shift or a ship that's adrift.
Yes.
When they get out there, and they probably need, the assistance of somebody like yourself who can instill that in them, like in those high school years, like, well, what is it do you like in life, and what do you want to do, and is this helping you or hurting you, and here's the things that I think you need to do, and here's what we would need to do to achieve those things. I think people need that.
Yeah,
young people, especially starting young.
Yeah, a lot of the 20-something-year-olds always fear not making their parents happy. I have to go in this direction to make them happy, but what is it that makes you happy? What is it that you want to do? That's the whole thing here, is that. So that's why I had mentioned earlier, we go back to what is it that happened in your childhood? Who were you back then? How were your parents? How were your siblings? And then moving forward to our present moment, so that we could then move forward to, what they want to achieve. So that's that. So yes, I have a big age group that I deal with, that I work with.
Well, and one thing you kind of touched on that, I guess it's another factor in why it's important to have like a coach or somebody who will help you with their goals, is that, especially at a young age, is what I mean to say, is that when you're young and you're doing something for a certain reason, like your parents want you to do this, your parents want you to become this, or they want you to go into this field or study this subject, or go into school for this, is you're impressionable. And sometimes, when you're at that age, your parents are in a more powerful position than you are. They've given you support for all these years. They're supplying you with this, a car, a roof over your head, a car, assistance with your tuition. And so when these people are young, they say that your brain isn't fully developed, at least for males, somewhere till around the age of 25, even though I think they say that females develop more quickly. So you might be doing things for a purpose that is not going to help you achieve your ultimate goal or happiness, and you're doing that just because that's all you know, or that's what you've been told, by your parents. So that's why I feel it's really important to kind of diagnose what your goal or purpose is, or what's going to make you happy overall in your life, to start going toward that path and realizing the things that aren't keeping you on that path, that are distracting you or diverting you from that. Recognize them early, and knowing that, and also understanding the consequences too, like what you're doing now. Even education in and of itself, it's one thing to go for education because you do better yourself if you apply yourself and you do it right, and you're not just at a college to party. But is it really worth it, because you're going to go into a lot of debt, and is that what you really want to do? There's a lot of consequences that people don't think about. There's obviously pros and cons to every situation, but you're going to make a lot of decisions. Is that really what you want to do? Because I feel like people would make better decisions if they knew their goal or their purpose, or what is really going to make them happy earlier on, because then they would realize that. I think that's one of the most important things to work on with clients like that is, like, don't do these things that are going to, do you see that? Like, here's A, B, and C. You're a random, ship at sea, just not nowhere near that destination with this. So you might have to do this job or work at, this, to make that mall or whatever for the time being, or whatever you're doing until you can, get past that. And this is just a stepping stone. So helping people realize what are stepping stones, or what are things that are actually driving you toward your ultimate goal.
That's right. Yeah. I had two clients actually going in to take the real estate exam. And I had told them, prior to the two of them, I should say 3 clients that went through the real estate exam, the first client had said to me, "Oh my God, I failed. What am I going to do?" And I was like, "Do you get a second chance to take the real estate exam?" And she said, "Yeah, I have 3 chances." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's wonderful. So don't cry."
But not like forever, 3 chances in like a year or 2 years or 3 years or something.
Right.
I'll have to
I
ask your
think
realtor
within
that.
the-
How many times can you do it?
Yeah, can you do that?
I'm curious now.
Yeah. So I said, okay, why are you taking the test? You have to ask yourself, why am I taking this test? Not to pass it, of course. Everyone needs to pass the test. But why? Who are you doing it for? Why? That's important. Because you can't, and the other thing that's really important, don't tell anyone when you're going to go take the exam. Because in the back of your mind, when you're taking that exam, you're saying to yourself, oh my God, I got to pass this because I want to take care of my family. Oh my God, I have to pass this because I have to do. Don't do that. Or I have to pass this exam because if I fail it, I have to tell everyone I failed it. So go in taking this exam with, I'm taking it for me because I love it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And no one's going to know when I take this exam. You know why? Because it's about me.
You have such a positive way of looking at it, and that's the way you should look at it. But me, being raised over here by Midway on the south side like a savage, I'm thinking about the people who gamble. It's like I only hear about it when they win, and when they fail, they don't tell me shit. Like when you blew all your money on that slot machine or whatever, I didn't hear nothing about it then. But I won really big. Oh really? Yeah, man, I got $1,500 on that one slot. No kidding. How much of that did you take home at the end of the night and actually keep? Oh, nothing. Like,
I would never tell anyone I won anything. I'm bad.
I don't blame you, sister. You're smart, because as soon as you start telling these people that you won that money, guess what? Oh, I could use another drink. Really? Can you? Did you work hard for your money? I did, but I had a little good luck, and I'm not going to spend it all on you, you son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
That is too funny.
No, I'm kidding. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you get lucky enough to hit the slot machine, go ahead and buy the bar. Like, spread that happiness around with your happiness.
That's right.
What are you really going to do with that money anyway? But yes, no, I didn't mean to divert from your point.
No, that's fine.
Your point was do it for yourself and not for everybody else. And also, then you don't have to worry about the judgment or what people might or might not think, because sometimes they might not even be judging you. You just perceive that they're judging you, and you're like, I went through that shit myself. I feel you, dog. But they didn't say that, and so people are worried that, you know what I mean. So that way you can focus on the goal without that distraction, and then you can just hit them like 100% like a real rock star with that Mike Tyson knockout punch. Be like, I passed that exam. Man, this is going to be my year.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throw that goddamn computer off. I don't need none of this shit. But I do want to get it on tape and share it with the world.
Yep. Yeah.
Which we did, Kimmy Larson.
We did.
I feel like the last time I saw you was when we did that Breaking Bread with Brian.
Yes.
At the Italian restaurant in Lincoln Park. And what was the name of that restaurant?
Basil Leaf.
Basil Leaf.
Yes.
It's been a little while.
Gotta go back.
I think I will. I think we're going to make sure they have some of that Casa Margarita.
Santa Margarita.
I'm terrible. I can't even. The label wasn't facing this way. But
That's
make
really
sure,
good.
make sure they have some of that on hand, and that they're ready to cook the finest Italian food around.
That's right.
Yeah, that's something I missed
Ciao,
too.
baby.
But I can't believe it's been that long, and that's a shame. That's the nasty part about COVID is, like, I wanted to do this podcast a lot sooner. In fact, people probably, the great thing was, and one of the things that helped me get through the pandemic was the podcasts were still going. I still heard Rogan having on all these different guests in person, remotely if they weren't in the area and they didn't want to travel during COVID or whatever. And like that way, I'm like, okay, I'm stuck inside, I'm cleaning the house, but I'm active, I'm getting my little exercise. They say you burn a lot of calories house cleaning. And then they were keeping me company during COVID, so I wanted to do this during COVID, but it's just like we're still in COVID. But what I meant was,
I know.
during the we're in the aftermath of the initial part of it. Yeah. What I meant was just like during the initial part of it, we weren't be sitting here because we were afraid as hell. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to give them anthrax by
don't
speaking
sneeze.
in their direction or whatever. But as you alluded to earlier, you got to take care of your health in these times because
And
you
take
know,
care of each other.
yeah, I mean, if you don't take care of your health, you're just like basically begging for a bad case of COVID when you get it. Like, at least if you're managing your stress, you're still achieving your goals, or, you know, working on the post pandemic goals, you're keeping yourself in good health. You know, they said, I think the statistic is that like all, like between 80 and 100, or like somewhere between 80 and like 95% of the people that are getting bad cases of COVID have a vitamin D deficiency, probably vitamin D3 specifically, but vitamin D deficiency.
Yes.
And then there's probably a million other factors out there. But yeah, taking care of your health, and taking the right supplements and just exercising just to avoid getting a bad case of this if you do get it.
Yeah, definitely do your vitamin D3, zinc we talked about earlier, turmeric, ginger, things like that. That's really, really, you know, all your organic, earthy stuff. Do that. Be very mindful of it. Keep yourself healthy. Keep your friends, family healthy.
Yeah, and if nothing else, even if you did end up with a bad case of COVID, at least you know you tried everything that you could to avoid getting a bad case, because, you know, unfortunately, this is the worst kind of, you know, disease, because the more, you know, complicating health factors that you have, or, you know, comorbidities, like you're diabetic, or you're, you know,
high blood pressure,
high cholesterol, overweight. Like, this is just like, oh, if you didn't even try to take care of your health, you're going to pay for it now, because you're going to get a bad case of this, and this makes it even worse because of all those other things, you know, that it's a shame, because I'm not, you know, I would never try to make somebody feel bad if they're out of shape or they're not healthy or overweight or whatever. It's not about
judgment.
It's not, well, it's not about making the person feel bad.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. You hear these terms like fat shaming and things like that. It's like, I think a lot of where that comes from is not that, you know, if the person cares about you, if they say something that makes you feel bad, it's not to make you feel bad. It's to try to motivate you to do better, to try to manage those things so that you don't die if you get a case of COVID. You know what I mean? That you're able to survive it, because you tried to eat better, and you lost weight, or you started taking supplements and getting more sunlight and exercise and all these things.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, we've been in this kind of like politically correct world, and like, you know, the age of outrage, and everybody's like, you know, cancel culture, and, you know, if you say something we disagree with, we're going to cancel you. And it's like, that's too extreme, because one day you're going to do some shit that's going to get you canceled too. You're just lucky that people don't know about it, or they haven't found out about it yet. So those people should have a guilty conscience too. I think we're trying to make people feel bad.
Yeah. I think that, you know, we were talking about turning every negative into a positive, and we can do that. Same with love. Spread the love. Just keep spreading love. Love and happiness, laughter. Laugh as much as you can. Got to keep it. That's going to keep us healthy. That's what we got to do. Vitamins, laughter, and love. I don't know if anyone's ever said that like that. Vitamins, really?
Can I get these on Amazon? I feel like if you've searched for this, you might also like laughter, love, and vitamins. Like, you can get all three here. Well, thanks to you, people in general and anybody listening can get love, laughter, and vitamins at the Zen Boutique
Life Coaching. Yay.
A whole boutique full of Zen.
Yes.
With Kimmy Larson. So good to see you.
You too.
I know we've both been through a lot since we last saw each other, and then certainly during the pandemic, because everybody has. So great to get so close to the positive light of your soul, and bring that together with mine, and see you. And I look forward to next time. You know, I mentioned earlier, maybe we could do it like every other month or every couple months,
when
to catch up like once a quarter, and then Mother's Day too.
Yes.
We'll do like a mother-daughter podcast.
Yeah.
Do like Mother's Day episode, all that good stuff. Tell us how people contact you and where they find you, and how to find more of your good advice and thoughts and your services.
Well, I am physically located at 401 South LaSalle, and my phone number is 773-499-5004. You
One
can-
more time.
773-499-5004.
Do you call and text to make an
Yes.
appointment?
Yes.
Is text better during the daytime if you're, with a client
Anytime.
or something like that?
Anytime. Texting is probably the best way to reach me.
Same here. For all
Yeah.
the people out there pissed that they can't get a hold of me by calling me, send me a text and then we'll arrange a call or we'll text for a while and figure that out.
Yeah. And then you can learn more about me on my website, which is Life Coach.
I put you on the spot.
ZenBoutique.org.
Yes, I have it right here. You've given me some nice items that you have that you give to your clients and to your potential clients.
Yeah.
You have www.lifecoachzenboutique.org.
Yes.
That's www.lifecoachzenboutique.org. Google it if you can't get it directly with that link. And what about social media?
Social media on LinkedIn and Instagram. And you had mentioned Google. If you Google Zen Boutique Life Coaching, you'll be able to read my reviews. So that'll give you more insight into what I do too by reading my clients' reviews.
That's perfect. If you've ever thought about getting life coaching services and you like Kimmy Larson's style and her spirit, check out those reviews because you'll get to hear the specifics on why other people like her as well.
Yes.
Any other spots, any other places you can be seen? Are you on Facebook?
I am on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm not really active on Facebook, so I'm not really great with social media.
I'm so out of
I have
touch.
to
That's
be
one
honest.
of the few. That's one of the few social mediums I actually use. I don't have an Instagram. Don't do Snapchat. Haven't done TikTok. Holy shit, that's another thing. I feel like the CCP in China, the government over there already knows enough about me probably already, and I gotta start. I'm getting on TikTok or whatever. You know what I mean? But
I'm actually going to start TikTok videos about short little videos.
you should.
About yeah.
You should probably because I think you can get a lot more recognition by people from all over the place, and that could work out really well. You might be able to assist more virtual clients that way, and
Yeah.
also. Just I heard like Instagram or Snapchat are good ways to reach people out of state.
Yeah. It's all a lot of fun, so yeah. Just like this. This is so much fun.
Well, glad that you joined me, and that's how you reach Kimmy Larson. Anything else you want to hear the listeners to hear or know before we get going?
No, I'm here. I'm here all the time. Call me. I'm here. We got this together. We got it. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, before we sign off, I'm like, do I edit this or not? Because
No!
I've been so open and relaxed that I'm just like, I'm like, this is who I am. This is what I think is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm a civilized savage, attorney by day, podcaster by evening. I'm probably not going to edit anything, but what I will say to explain the context of what I said earlier is that TikTok, it's my understanding that is a Chinese owned social media app. Whether, I don't know if it's state owned, probably not state owned, it's probably privately owned, which nothing really is probably
Right.
in a communist country. But anyway, that's why I said that. No disrespect to the Chinese, from the American people here in America to the Chinese people in China. We got no beef with each other. I got no beef against
I
the
got
average
no beef with
Chinese guy.
anyone.
But it's the governments that are butting heads so much and these ideologies that want to force on everybody. I don't know what the Chinese person is going through in China, and they don't know what I'm going through
Yes.
here, but I hope we can share that with each other and cross these divides because of social media, because of the internet, and all these things that we never had in the past that we now have. It's made life a lot better here because there's a lot of things that people don't want you to say, a lot of podcasts they don't want you to do, a lot of things they don't want you to say or be or think or feel, or maybe they want to steer you in another direction, but the internet has helped level the playing field so that people like you and I
Yes.
can share our positive thoughts and our real thoughts with people out there because I don't have a beef with anybody from anywhere, but it's just usually governments and these organizations that interfere and cause distance and negative things between us. So Yeah, didn't mean anything by that. Like, no hate. Like, I'm not saying no
that.
disrespect. That's why I mentioned the CCP specifically. I'm probably going to be spied on for the rest of my life. People, I don't know if you need to worry about the U.S. government spying on you more, or these governments overseas. Could be Russia, could be China, whatever.
Yeah.
But if they hear this, I'm probably going to be. I don't know what kind of internet restrictions they already have over there, but they will probably not allow this podcast to be aired or whatever. But bless America. You can say these things here, and that's why I love these podcasts so much, is because we not only have the ability to do it, and it's like a protected right, but we should be doing it now in these times and trying to spread it all over the world. With those people, there's distance between us, but we're all people at the end of the day, and hopefully we can all get along. And God bless you for, and like I said, I'm not a religious man. It's just more of a figure of speech, but for doing that for people individually here, because it probably multiplies going forward, all that positivity that you
I'm blessed.
help people create and that you share with them. So nice having you on. I'm blessed. I hope all you guys out there stay blessed. Tune in next time. We love you. Peace. Bye-bye. See you next time. See you soon. She'll be back.
Later.
Peace.